There were moments you almost collapsed under the weight of what you were carrying. Moments where you convinced yourself you were standing on your own, when in truth it was my hand under you, steadying you before you ever realized you were slipping. You thought the ground was giving way. You thought the darkness was about to swallow you whole. But before the fear had time to rise in your chest, I had already stepped between you and the fall you were bracing for. I saw the tears you hid, the strength you pretended to have, the exhaustion you wouldn't speak of. I watched you fight battles meant for two hands while using only one, and still you wondered why you felt drained. You didn't know I was carrying the rest. You didn't know how many times your spirit was seconds away from breaking, yet heaven moved in silence and set you back on your feet as if nothing happened. Every time you said, "I can't do this anymore," I leaned in closer, not to judge you, but to hold you up long enough for the storm to pass. You don't see the moments I caught you because you measure my presence by what you feel, while I measure my love by what I refuse to let happen to you. I stepped into nights where your heart spiraled, where your hope was flickering like a weak flame in the wind, and before despair could pull you down, I cupped my hands around that flame so it wouldn't die. You didn't even notice the peace that suddenly came over you, the breath that returned, the strength that rose in your legs. You called it coincidence, but it was me. I've been preserving you in ways you'll only understand in hindsight. There were traps set for you that you never walked into because I rerouted your steps. There were people who spoke against you, plans designed to break your spirit, moments crafted to push you into panic, and you believed you survived them because you were resilient. But resilience alone can only carry someone so far. What carried you was my promise, my covering, my refusal to watch you be destroyed by things that were never meant to touch you. I have stood in front of arrows meant for your heart. I have quieted storms that were gathering with your name on them, and I have lifted burdens off you while you were still trying to pretend you weren't hurting. You haven't seen the full story of what I've shielded you from, but I have been close, closer than your fear, closer than your doubt, closer than the fall you thought you were heading toward. And now I need you to understand this. The reason you are still standing is not because you never fell, but because every fall was intercepted by grace before it could reach you. I am the reason the impact never broke you. I am the reason the darkness never swallowed you. I am the reason the enemy grew frustrated watching you rise again and again when you should have been lying in pieces. You give too much credit to your pain and not enough to my protection. You think survival was your doing, but survival was my hand around your life, refusing to let you slip into the places that would have undone you. I have held you through storms that would have leveled others, and I'm not finished. I'm not letting you fall again. You keep telling yourself that you're barely holding on, that you're fragile, that one wrong move will send you spiraling again. But you don't realize how much stronger you've become because of everything you survived with me standing beside you. You look at your life and think your strength has diminished, when in truth it has deepened. You confuse exhaustion with weakness, but what you're feeling is the weight of growth stretching you into someone you never imagined you could become. I've been cultivating endurance in you, not in sudden dramatic moments, but in the quiet hours when you kept going even though your heart was trembling. Every time you chose hope when fear made more sense, every time you tried again after disappointment, every time you prayed even when your voice shook, I was shaping something inside you that cannot collapse under pressure. You think the darkness made you weaker, but the reality is that it taught you how to see with your spirit instead of your eyes. I have been strengthening you in ways you haven't learned to recognize yet. You mistake my training for abandonment because I didn't always remove the struggle immediately. But I wasn't punishing you. I was preparing you. There are muscles in your faith that can only develop through resistance, endurance that only becomes real when you walk through seasons where nothing feels certain except my presence. I let you face winds that tried to knock you over so you would learn the sound of my voice in the storm. I let you walk through valleys so dark that you thought I had stepped away. But I was there, teaching your spirit to depend on me more than it depended on clarity. You didn't realize I was fortifying your inner world, building a foundation that no disappointment, no betrayal, no attack can shake. You feel stretched because you are growing. You feel pressure because greatness is being formed inside you. You often pray for strength, not realizing I've been answering that prayer long before you asked it. Strength isn't something I hand you in a moment. It's something I grow in you over time. It's built in the quiet rooms where you wiped your own tears and still believed I had a plan. It's shaped in the nights when you whispered, "Help me," and still put one foot forward the next morning. Your spirit has been learning the language of resilience, the rhythm of persistence, the posture of trust. You don't see it yet, but you've been expanding, your capacity increasing far beyond the version of yourself you once knew. And soon you will look back and realize that you are no longer the person who used to break under pressure. You have become someone who endures, someone who stands, someone who refuses to fold even when the world expects you to. You are growing into someone who can carry the blessings I am preparing for you, and growth is rarely comfortable. I am not letting you fall because I have invested too much strength into you to let you slip back into the place you came from. I've been elevating you quietly, layer by layer, in ways you didn't notice. The heaviness you feel is not a sign that you are collapsing. It is the sign that you are being built. And I will not let this season destroy you. I will not let your fear rewrite your identity. I will not let your past dictate your worth. I have strengthened you, and I am still strengthening you. You may not feel powerful yet, but power is rising in you, and soon you will walk with a confidence that comes from knowing you did not make it by your own strength. You made it because I carried you, shaped you, trained you, and refused to let you fall. There are moments when you look back at your past, and let those memories convince you that you are destined to fall the same way again, as if the old versions of you still have authority over who you are becoming. You replay mistakes like they are prophecies, letting the echoes of old failures tell you what your future holds. But I need you to understand something you have not fully believed yet. Your past falls are not predictions, they are lessons. They are not warnings of doom. They are markers of how far you've already come. What broke you before will not break you now, because you are not the same person who stumbled then. You carry wounds that once defined you, but now they testify to how I lifted you, how I healed you, how I changed you from the inside out long before the world noticed. You fear repeating the same patterns, but you forget that I have already been rewriting your steps with every choice you made to rise again when giving up seemed easier. I have watched you grow through experiences that once crushed you, and every time you stood up again, heaven recorded it as strength, not failure. You keep measuring yourself by the moment you fell, but I measure you by the moment you got back up. You think the enemy is reminding you of your past because he wants you to remember it, but his real fear is that you will realize how irrelevant it has become. He wants you to believe that your past has power, but it only has the power you hand back to it. I have already taken the weight of those mistakes from your shoulders. I have already redeemed the moments you regret. I have already walked into the deepest shame you ever felt and carried you out of it. Your past cannot sentence you because grace has already overturned every verdict spoken against you. You are not tied to the mistakes you once made. You are tied to the purpose I placed in you before you took your first breath. Every fall that once made you ashamed has become part of the wisdom shaping who you are now. You understand danger earlier. You recognize red flags faster. You hear my voice clearer. You sense spiritual traps long before they come near you. This is not weakness. This is discernment born out of pain that I have transformed into strength. I use what tried to destroy you as the very material I build your future with. Nothing was wasted. Not the tears, not the confusion, not the heartbreak, not the nights you felt forgotten, not the seasons you wandered without answers. Every one of those experiences now stands as a testimony inside you, a reminder that you survived what once told you you wouldn't. You learned resilience in the darkness. You learned clarity in the silence. You learned endurance in the middle of storms that threatened to crush you. And now, those lessons will guide you into places where you once thought you didn't belong. You fear that you will fall again because you haven't fully realized how much stability I've placed under your feet. Your steps are guided now, not by impulse but by wisdom, not by wounds but by healing, not by confusion, but by my spirit leading you in ways you can't always explain. You are walking differently because your heart is different. You are deciding differently because your mind is different. You are reacting differently because your spirit is stronger. The person who fell before is not the person walking forward now, and that fear inside you, The fear of repeating what once hurt you is not a prophecy, it's a lie. I'm not letting you fall again. I didn't bring you this far to watch you collapse under the memories of who you used to be. I am taking you into a future that your past has no access to. I have set a new path before you, and nothing behind you has permission to follow. There are doors you kept walking through because they were familiar, not because they were good for you, and every time you entered them, you found yourself tripping over the same pain, the same people, the same patterns that drained you. You thought those doors stayed open because they were meant for you, but the truth is they remained open because you were still healing, still learning, still trying to convince yourself you could handle what was quietly breaking you. You didn't realize that some connections were crafted to distract you. Some environments were shaping your weakness instead of your strength. And some opportunities were disguised traps pulling you back into cycles you prayed to escape. So now I am closing them. Not to punish you, not to isolate you, but to protect you. I remove access to what harms you even when you feel attached to it. I shut doors that lead you into temptation, confusion, and repetition because you cannot build a new life while walking in and out of old rooms. There have been moments where you felt abandoned because something you wanted was suddenly taken away. A person suddenly distanced themselves, or a path you planned suddenly collapsed before you could step onto it. But what you called loss was my intervention. I saw the hidden motives, the unseen dangers, the spiritual traps laced beneath the surface. I heard conversations you weren't present for. I saw betrayals planned long before they reached you. I noticed the heaviness your spirit felt even when your heart tried to justify staying. I am closing every door that keeps you stumbling, every door that steals your peace, every door that turns your focus away from me. You don't see the full picture yet, but every closing is an act of mercy, every detour a shield, every no a pathway to a better yes that aligns with what I've prepared for you. I'm also shutting the internal doors, those quiet compromises, those small habits, those subtle temptations that kept leading you into the same emotional valleys. You may not realize how many times you tripped over the same thoughts, the same insecurities, the same wounds that whispered lies into your spirit. Those inner doors gave access to fear, to doubt, to old identities you've already outgrown. I am sealing them now. I am redefining your boundaries, protecting your mind from the voices that once weakened you, and rebuilding your heart so it no longer responds to what used to break it. Some doors within you must close so you can walk with clarity instead of confusion, conviction instead of hesitation, strength instead of old fear pretending to be wisdom. And yes, you will resist some of these closures because they feel uncomfortable. You will question why certain people drift away, why opportunities fall apart, why circumstances shift suddenly. But I need you to trust me more than you trust your understanding. When I close a door, it is because keeping it open would lead you into a fall you're not meant to experience again. I am placing you in a season where your stability matters too much for me to allow distractions to circle back into your life. I am guiding you away from what drains your spirit and into what builds your future. I am removing what once weakened you and making space for what will strengthen you. These closures are not rejections, they are safeguards, and each one is me saying again, I'm not letting you fall. You carry a fear inside you that you rarely speak out loud, a quiet trembling that whispers, what if it happens again? What if I fall the same way? What if I lose myself like before? You try to act strong, but the memories of past hurt linger like shadows you can't fully shake off. You worry that one wrong decision, one wrong step, one moment of weakness will pull you back into the same darkness you fought so hard to escape. But I need you to hear me clearly. This time is different. You are not walking into this season alone, unprotected or unprepared. I am intervening. I am interrupting the patterns that once controlled your life. I am breaking cycles that you thought were permanent. The pain you lived through will not repeat itself, not because you are perfect, but because I am stepping into places I once allowed you to navigate on your own. I am standing at the gates of your future and refusing to let old battles take residence in your new path. You don't understand how many spiritual patterns I have already disrupted on your behalf. There were cycles forming around you that I dismantled before you ever noticed them. Patterns in your emotions, in your relationships, in your behavior, in your environment. Some were beginning to echo the past, and I shut them down before they could trap you again. I saw the exhaustion beginning to creep in, the familiar heaviness, the subtle temptations trying to pull you back into old habits. And before those patterns gained power, I broke them. You didn't know why you suddenly lost desire for things that once tempted you. You didn't know why certain people suddenly couldn't get close to you anymore. You didn't know why your spirit felt uncomfortable in places you once tolerated. That was me. I was shifting your heart, rewiring your desires, and closing emotional doors you didn't have the strength to shut alone. You've been afraid of repeating the same brokenness because you assume you're still the same person who walked through that pain the first time. But you have changed in ways you haven't recognized yet. You don't react the same. You don't trust the same. You don't tolerate the same. You don't walk blindly into the same traps. The parts of you that collapsed before have been rebuilt. The wounds that once made you vulnerable are now the places my strength rests on most. What you call weakness is actually sensitivity, awareness born from experience. You think fear is warning you, but I'm showing you that fear is only mirroring old memories, not current truth. The past trained you, but it will not repeat itself. I have reshaped your spirit to see danger earlier, to sense misalignment faster, and to choose peace instead of chaos. You are not walking into another fall, you are stepping into discernment. I am stepping into your story with a firmness you have not experienced before. I am putting my hand between you and the behaviors that once derailed you. I am blocking the entrances to cycles that once controlled your heart. I am protecting you from emotional traps that once felt familiar. You are stepping into a season where I fight for you in ways you didn't know I could. You feared this would be the moment everything falls apart again. But this is the moment everything stabilizes because I am anchoring you in ways your past cannot undo. I am breaking the old so the new can rise without interruption. I am stepping between you and every force trying to pull you backward. You don't have to fear a repeat of your pain because I am already ahead of you, already securing you, already declaring over your life that the patterns of old will not return. I am not letting you fall again. There are battles happening around you that your eyes cannot see, pressures forming in the unseen realm that were designed to pull you back into places I've already delivered you from. You feel the tension at times, the sudden heaviness, the unexpected discouragement, the old temptations trying to whisper your name again. But you don't realize how many of these forces stop at the threshold because I am standing in front of you. I have placed myself between you and everything that once had access to your heart. The things that used to reach you easily now find a barrier they cannot cross. The attacks that once overwhelmed you now lose their strength before they touch you. The darkness that once chased you now halts because it sees not your weakness, but my presence surrounding you. You are not walking unguarded. You are not vulnerable the way you once were. I am your shield, your defender, your covering, and I am refusing to let anything drag you back into the shadows I pulled you out of. You underestimate how fiercely I protect you. You assume the battles feel lighter because life has calmed down, but the truth is that I am intercepting attacks long before they approach your life. There were mindsets trying to resurface, and I shut them down before they could poison your thoughts. There were people ready to re-enter your world with the same old intentions, and I placed distance where you once would have felt pulled. There were spiritual traps forming around your path, subtle and familiar, meant to make you stumble in the same places you once did. But this time I stood in the way. I disrupted the conversations. I shifted the timing. I altered the circumstances. I confused the plans of anything that meant you harm. You don't see the full story, but you feel the peace. And that peace is not a coincidence. It is evidence of my intervention. I am guarding you not only from external dangers, but from internal ones as well. The old fears that once spoke so loudly now find me confronting them before they can reach your heart. The insecurities that used to overwhelm you now fade because I silence them with truth. The shame that once haunted you no longer has freedom to rise because I have rewritten your identity with mercy and strength. I am blocking the lies that used to break you, the doubts that used to paralyze you, the memories that used to control you. I am standing between you and the echoes of your past, refusing to let them shape your present. You may think you are simply getting stronger, But what you're actually experiencing is me intercepting the weapons formed against you before they can reach your spirit. And I need you to know this. The reason you feel a new sense of stability, the reason you haven't collapsed under pressure, the reason you keep rising even when you expected yourself to fall, is because I am holding the line for you. I am confronting what you cannot fight. I am lifting what you cannot carry. I am breaking what you cannot see. You are not being pulled backward because I am anchoring you forward. I am guarding your steps with intention. I am surrounding your heart with protection. I am fighting battles in the unseen so you can walk freely in the seen. You don't need to fear what once defeated you. You don't need to brace for another collapse. Nothing is dragging you back this time. I am here, standing between you and everything that tries to reclaim you, and I will not let you fall. You've been walking with uncertainty, wondering if your steps are steady enough, if your heart is healed enough, if your faith is strong enough to carry you into what comes next. But I need you to understand something deeper than anything you've heard so far. You are not walking alone, and you are not depending on your own balance anymore. I am holding you. I am guiding you. I am steadying every step you take, even when you feel unsure of yourself. You don't have to fear falling, because I am not letting you take a single step without my hand being wrapped around your life. When you feel the urge to rush, I slow your spirit. When you feel the fear of slipping, I anchor your feet. When you feel overwhelmed by the unknown, I whisper calm into your heart. You don't realize how safe you are in my presence, how protected your journey has become, how closely I am walking beside you. Your life is entering a season where stability will replace uncertainty, where clarity will replace confusion, where peace will replace fear. But this isn't happening because circumstances suddenly got easier. It's happening because you are learning to walk with me. You are learning to lean on me instead of your own strength. You are learning to trust my timing, my guidance, my voice. And as you walk with me, I am removing the shakiness from your feet. I am strengthening the places that once felt insecure. I am giving you emotional and spiritual footing that cannot be taken by storms or setbacks. You will look back soon and realize that the steps that once wobbled are now confident, that the fears that once haunted you have no place in your new path, and that the past versions of you no longer have permission to dictate where you're going. You are stepping into a life where I'm not only rescuing you, I am leading you. I'm not only protecting you, I am empowering you. I'm not only comforting you, I am elevating you. Every moment you spend with me strengthens your spirit. Every prayer, every surrender, every quiet whisper of faith builds something inside you that cannot collapse. I am giving you wisdom to walk wisely, vision to walk purposefully, peace to walk steadily. The reason you will not fall in this season is because I am guiding every step you take. You are not wandering anymore. You are not guessing. You are not moving blindly. You are walking with divine direction. And now I invite you to take my hand with confidence. Not with fear, not with hesitation, not with doubts screaming in your mind, but with trust. Walk with me the way a child walks with a father, secure, unafraid, steady, knowing they are held. You don't have to figure everything out. You don't have to predict the future. You don't have to worry about what waits ahead. I am already there. I'm already preparing blessings, connections, breakthroughs, and clarity that align with my promises. I will not let your feet slip. I will not let your heart break the same way again. I will not let you fall. I am holding you now, and I will keep holding you as you step into the brightest, safest, most stable season of your life. Walk with me, and you will rise.